Hello, good morning. It is your host, Emmanuel Isaiah Smith, and today's date is Halloween 2025, Friday, October 31st. The time is 11:54 a.m. and I am in Homestead, Florida. The topic of today's lecture is malignant stalkers. And I'm going to dedicate this entire lecture, all 53 and a half minutes of it, to stalkers. We're going to leave liaisons out of this one. We're going to leave undercovers out of this one, because I've already done two separate lectures on both liaisons and undercovers. So the star of this lecture is going to be the stalkers themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, America's Funniest Home Video was a show that was popular back in the 1990s. I grew up on it. Some of the episodes were more eventful or more interesting than others, just like any TV show. But it was a very popular show. It was a show where people videotaped friends, family, and others who they may not know doing outrageously goofy things in various settings. It could be at home, it could be outside, it could be in a public place, it could be in a shopping center, it could be anywhere. You got people taking their VHS recorders, and mind you, this is the 90s, the early to mid 90s. We didn't have the DVD players or the tablets or anything like that. Everything was being recorded using these handheld cameras that dispensed VHS tapes. So you had people going around with these cameras videotaping people doing the most bizarre things imaginable. And it was probably the first reality show, if you want to know the truth. It was real people videotaping other real people doing outrageously stupid things. Some of the people who did that stuff got injured doing some of the stuff they were doing. I don't know if anybody died while doing that, participating in that program, but I wouldn't doubt it. Some of the outrageously maniacal things you saw on that TV program. It was hugely popular, though, ladies and gentlemen, and it was entertaining, too. It was one of a kind during those days. America's Funniest Home Video never captured anything so stupid as the stuff you see malignant stalkers doing on a daily basis. And the reason that I categorize these people as stupid is because upon a more thorough examination of the word stupid, I have found no clearer example of this term than the malignant stalkers that I see on a daily basis. They're not stupid because they don't know how to spell, read, or write. They're stupid because they participate in random acts of thuggery because someone else used some sort of a clandestine signal to point them into that direction. Okay? It's a situation where, so take the dumbest farm animal you can think of, right? I mean, some animals that are here on this earth have, they display or demonstrate rather a measure of intelligence, right? Some animals display high degrees of intelligence, like for example dolphins. They have a communicative mechanism that they're able to use. Eagles, falcons, various species of primates, including humans. You know, humans are primates also. Various species of dog or cat, canine or feline, okay, are able to display varying degrees of intelligence, right? They can't exactly read, write, or spell. You can't ask a dog to solve a math problem. Okay, you can't ask a cat to write an essay. Okay, you can't tell a gorilla to find the meaning of life. Okay, you can't tell an eagle or a falcon to write an analytical report on the American economy. Okay, animals of the field are not capable of these types of reasoning. But they display intelligence in their own capacity, more so than other animals. Humans are no different. Some humans are simply born with the capacity to understand things to a higher degree than others. There are some people who, if you were to ask them to spell their own name, they would have to pause for a second. If there are some people where if you were to say, can you say the English alphabet from A to Z right now? They might mess up the first few times. All right, you ask a lot of the people in this country, ask them, just walk up to anyone, any random person. This is a challenge I'm issuing to you as my listener. Walk up to any person you can find on the street, anyone. It doesn't matter who they are, it doesn't matter what their occupation, anyone. Just randomly walk up to someone on the street, ladies and gentlemen, and ask them, what's 6 times 3? It is a basic mathematical problem. It's nothing complicated. Just ask them, what's 6 times 3? If you're here in the state of Florida, most people that you say that to probably won't even be able to answer you. They might not even say anything. Out of embarrassment, they might just scratch their head and walk off. Just 6 times 3. 6 multiplied by 3. Ask anyone that you run across today, what's 6 times 3? I can promise you the overwhelming vast majority of people you ask that won't be able to answer it. What does that tell you about American society, ladies and gentlemen? What it tells you about American society is that it lacks the cranial capacity to keep itself safe. Unfortunately, The U.S. federal establishment in this country has given these kinds of people the wherewithal and the ability to sabotage citizens that know what the answer to that equation is. To sabotage citizens who can give you some semblance of what society is. To sabotage citizens that have some semblance of the political structure in this country. To sabotage people who have some sense of what it means to own something. To sabotage people who have some semblance of what it means to earn an academic credential. To sabotage people who have no criminal record. To sabotage people who have some sense of the world about them. To sabotage people who have some sense of the great beyond. To sabotage people who are industrious and resourceful. You got dummies, okay, half illiterates running around this country right now using a signaling mechanism to pester people who've earned college degrees. People who have paid their taxes and filed their returns year after year. To pester people who have made their own way through this world. You got people who are on parole right now for violent, thuggish, degenerate crimes, who are given signals by wards of the state to pester people who have no criminal record. Let me try and put this into clearer context for you, ladies and gentlemen. And for those of you who might be listening to this right now saying, you should go to another country or another state, mind your own business. As I've said, these lectures are not for naysayers or persons who poke through the internet looking for people to criticize. This is for people who like rights, freedoms, and constitutional values. That's who these lectures are for. So let me put this into clearer perspective for you, ladies and gentlemen. How many of you have ever seen in any documentary, or maybe you've followed a court case recently or something similar, where you see some lowlife, I'm talking the lowest form of scum on the earth, kill, maim, or paralyze a person who has their whole life ahead of them, who has everything to gain, and who has a bright future. For example, that degenerate thug who runs up to the president of a bank and pulls out a gun to rob him, and the president of that bank has a heart attack from fear and dies. All because some low-life degenerate wanted his wallet so he could go out and buy some dope with it. So you have the lowlife, you have the president of the bank, The lowlife has a rap sheet a mile long. The president of the bank has served society with his business acumen his entire career. The lowlife is a wanderer. The president has an established residence, a wife, children, and grandchildren, all of which he looks out for. The lowlife runs up to the president, pulls out a gun, does not kill him because the president of the bank collapses and dies from fear during a heart attack. Yes, the scumbag gets found criminally liable for his death, but that doesn't bring the president of the bank back. His family never gets to see him again. All because some scumbag felt the need to walk up to him with a pistol to take something that he owned that the mugger wanted. Someone with nothing to lose approaches somebody with something to lose and causes his death. Okay? What about the Dan Markel situation? It's a similar scenario. Two lowlifes were paid 30 grand apiece to walk up to a law professor and shoot him twice in the head in his driveway. Yeah, the lowlife scumbags were prosecuted for murder and they got life in prison. But that does not bring back the Florida State University law professor who lost his life in his own driveway because two degenerates took money to slay him. Time after time after time after time. I mean, look at the Luigi Manzione situation. The president of United Health, who essentially had the world at his feet, not because it was handed to him, but because he worked for it. So the president of the United Health, who had a family, a career, wealth, well-earned wealth, a future, he probably had grandkids, and he was on the verge to living out the rest of a successful life. Some two-bit prick named Luigi Manzione, who was angry about his mother not being able to get health care that she needed for a serious illness, who happened to be a customer of I think it was Health One. So some guy whose mother was not able to get the benefits she thought she deserved with respect to help paying for a medical procedure got angry and killed the president of United Health. I'm going to say this again. Some two-bit scumbag who was angry about his mother getting denied benefits went and found the president of United Health and killed him. Now, Manzione, he might get life in prison. He'll probably get life in prison, but that's not going to bring back the CEO of United Health. So, ladies and gentlemen, Time after time after time after time in this country, you see this, don't you? Where some two-bit felon or some whacked out prick scumbag type approaches somebody who is on their way to success or has already attained success and takes their life, devastating that person's family and devastating the community. Someone with absolutely nothing to lose, somebody who's been in and out of jail since they were a child, someone who probably has little or no education, someone who has little or no work experience, not because he can't work, but simply because he won't or he lacks the capacity to work. All right? Someone who has probably never done anything constructive in their life, someone who's never won an award of any kind or been offered accolades of any kind, people who have never earned a credential, people who have never been credited with anything, people who have never built anything, people who have never created anything, people who have never accomplished anything of any note, people who their whole life have sat around and devised ways to get out of work, pester other people, harm other people, or take what other people have. Time after time after time, you see people like that harming, disenfranchising, or even murdering people who have earned credentials, who did take their education seriously, who did stop and think how they could be productive in some kind of capacity, who have attempted to contribute to the American way of life, who have trained themselves and honed their skills to be good at something and to profit off of something. People who value the fruits of their labor and want to pass those values down to their progeny. You got those kind of people getting knocked off by these little two-bit knuckleheaded types because these little knuckleheads want street cred. They want street credibility. They think that their life will improve and that they'll gain a reputation on the street as some badass if they go and take the life of a person whose life simply has more value than theirs. You know, it kind of reminds me of a story one of my pre-law professors told the class in one of my University of Dayton classrooms, where he talked about a gas station attendant who murdered I think it was the dean of a college or something like that. I was disgusted by the story because this guy working at this gas station probably was given this job as a part of a re-entry program for felons. Okay, because when you get that felony, you can't work. No one's going to hire a felon. So when they have these re-entry programs for felons, okay, you're a felon, you got convicted of a felony, you did your time, right? You paid your fees, whatever they were, or they were waived for indigency, and your parole officer got you hooked up with a job at a gas station, pumping gas for people as a way of re-entering you into society in a way that's not going to screw up nothing. And you enter society through this gas station attendant program. And what do? You kill the dean of a law program somewhere at some college. All right, this happens a lot in the United States. People who have absolutely nothing to lose in this world because they don't have nothing go and murder somebody who's well on their way to becoming an established U.S. citizen. Well, let's talk about malignant stalkers. Because like I said, everything I've said is applicable to the mindset that these pieces of shit are given by liaisons and by the undercover operatives that they shadow. Now, so these stalkers, they're not told, for example, we'll use me as an example. They're not told, well, look, we're going to send you out on an assignment. This is a liaison. We're going to send you out on an assignment today. It's going to be you, and you're going to circle the block of Southwest 177th Avenue and Southwest 320th Street in Homestead, Florida. We want you to circle the area a bunch of times, and we want you to watch out for this guy. We're going to point him out to you. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. All right? Being a gang stalker is not dangerous. Don't be scared. He's not going to do nothing to you. You're going to have 300 stalkers in the area watching things. Don't be afraid. After you do your stalking assignment, we're going to send you right back home to your wife and your beautiful kids. Don't be scared. Come on out and do a gang stalking assignment for us. That's it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to dress you up in a t-shirt and khaki shorts. We're going to give you sandals. And we're going to give you a nice looking safari hat. And we might give you a water bottle and some sunglasses. And we're going to give you a nice 10-speed Huffy bicycle to ride around in. We're going to have you ride in a circle around Maury Drive and Southwest 177th Avenue in Homestead, Florida. And we're going to have you watch some things for us. Now, you'll be looking for these signals. Here's a list of them. Okay, and we're going to have you point at this guy we've been watching. He's this big old tall black guy. His name's Emmanuel Isaiah Smith. He'll be talking on his tablet. Don't worry if you can't understand what he's saying, because everything he says is gibberish anyway. Nothing he says is true. There's nothing called gang stalking out there. What we do is called Operation Blue Eagle. Okay, he calls it gang stalking because he's a mean, mean man. We're going to have you circle the block, and we're going to have you point at him for people. Because we want to walk up to him, and we want to try to contaminate his air, okay? We're going to try and sneeze on him or cough on him while he's doing his lecture, because we don't agree with what he says. Okay? The stalker might ask him, hey, who are you? Where are you from? Oh, we're just wards of the state. You know, we work closely with the national security apparatus in this country. We work closely with the intelligence apparatus in this country. And we want to make sure guys like that ain't out there disrupting society and scaring people. There are some people that are so scared of him, when they see him, they want to do something to him so that he doesn't do something to them first. A lot of the stalkers we liaisons send out are so scared that sometimes they abandon their assignment and go back home to their families. Malignant stalkers, ladies and gentlemen, these people are not told who they're bothering. Okay? That was a hypothetical scenario that I just gave you. Okay? If only if the conversations were that in depth. But they're not that in depth. Essentially what you see are a horde of stalkers, undercover operatives, and liaisons that are signaled to a targeted person's exact location using a signaling mechanism, and they either pester him, disrupt him, or simply surveil him at close range. Okay? Stalkers have some semblance before they approach somebody how they're supposed to approach that person. Okay? If they're just there to observe and there to treat somebody with respect, that's typically somehow signaled to them before they get to the target. However, if they are to treat the target disdainfully or with hostility or with their innate sense of ignorant malice, okay, that is also communicated to them through signals before they make it to the target. Once they make it to the target, they treat the target how they have been instructed to treat them using the signaling mechanism. Okay? Stalkers have this innate capacity to try and somehow make themselves feel or look as if they are above the person that they have been assigned to. Okay, but it's the other way around, schmuck. Okay, you got out of bed this morning with the intention of using a state-sanctioned signaling mechanism so that you could bring your ass to where I'm at. I didn't solicit your presence. I didn't wave you down or flag you down. I didn't call you to be here. You came because someone sent you here. You got out of bed this morning. You got dressed this morning. You hopped in your car this morning. You set out this morning to find me, not the other way around. As a matter of fact, my life would go by at a much smoother, much more pleasant pace if it weren't for you liaisons, undercovers, and stalkers. Because for one, you're unprofessional as hell. 2, you act like zoo animals. And 3, you are experts at pissing people off. All right? Now, we live in the digital age. We live in the national security age. Is there going to be surveillance? Yeah. Is there going to be covert operations? Yeah. Fine. I'm in favor of that stuff. Do you understand? I'm okay with national security mechanisms that are aggressive and that are covert. But you have to use them with diligence. You have to use them with a passion for the Constitution. You have to use it with a sense of inalienable rights. You have to use it with a sense of responsibility, and you have to use it with a sense of professionalism. Okay, what is it when the state uses a combination of liaisons, undercover operatives, and stalkers, all of which use the same signaling mechanisms among themselves to pester or disrupt sovereign United States citizens? What is that tantamount to? A few things come to mind: high crimes and misdemeanors, treason, treachery, misuse of taxpayer resources, thuggery, community mobbing, disgusting acts of bioterrorism, synchronized harassment activity, anti-constitutionalism, anti-freedoms, and anti-civil rights actions. Go take your signal somewhere else. I don't need them, and quite frankly, I don't need you. If you're watching me from a distance and you're a person who has taken an oath of service to your country, or you've taken an oath of service to your state, and you're watching me from a distance and you're doing it with respect, you're doing it with a sense of my constitutional rights, my inalienable rights. You're watching me, you're surveilling me, you're monitoring me. You've accessed my data in accordance with the law. You're doing so with a sense of duty and a sense of professionalism. You're not crowding me and causing all kinds of ruckus. I welcome you. Because you're going to see the truth about clandestine gang stalking. The more you associate yourself with my surroundings and the more you associate yourself with what I do, you are going to learn the truth. But to all you liaisons, you Mickey Mouse undercover operatives, you clandestine gang stalkers, all of you who use state resources in a covert manner so that you can get the better of people without resource, go to hell. Go to hell, you pestering, disruptive fools. You chose the wrong guy for this crap. You should have looked into it a little more carefully. What I might do if you do A, B, and C. You all didn't weigh the variables. See, when you go into an endeavor like clandestine gang stalking, regardless of what the aim of the program is, if it's to collect data, if it's to modify people's behavior, if it's to undermine their sovereignty, if it's to push the limits of the authority of covert workers, if it's to see how many people you can piss off before you pass away, you know what? Get lost. And I'm sorry that the taxpayer has to put money into your pockets for what you do. I'm not anti-government, I'm not anti-military, and I'm not anti-law enforcement. Those are going to be some of the false narratives you hear about Emmanuel Isaiah Smith, your host, founder and CEO of EIS Media Group and Bible Discourses LLC. You're going to hear those lies from people who participate in gang stalking, and rather than quit or admit that they're wrong, they want to vilify the messenger. That's fine, let them. If they want to do something that cowardly, they've probably been cowards their whole lives. That's why they're running with the pack and using these thuggish signaling mechanisms to pester people. I'm of the mindset that in order to have a positive trajectory through this mortal world, you have to take it upon yourself not only to work hard, not only to educate yourself, but you also have to have some sense of social responsibility. And mind you, ladies and gentlemen, I started this program as a self-defense mechanism. I started this program as a way of protecting myself from the various disruptive forces that I encounter on a daily basis. What I do is administrative self-defense. I don't have to use picket signs or do hunger strikes or do anything that resembles civil disobedience. I don't have to disrupt town hall meetings or city council meetings or congressional meetings or Senate hearings. I don't have to do any of that. Okay? I don't have to engage in acts of civil disobedience to get my point across. I can record my thoughts right here, right now, and post them to the internet for the whole world to see. I don't have to participate in anything that resembles any type of a protest. That isn't my style. Now, that's not to take away from people who use civil disobedience. As a matter of fact, there have been people who used civil disobedience to instigate positive change. That what Dr. Martin Luther King was civil disobedience. What Mohandas Gandhi did was civil disobedience. What Jesus Christ did was civil disobedience. What Socrates, the philosopher, did was civil disobedience. What Galileo Galilei, the astronomer, did was civil disobedience. There are a lot of notable figures in history who have used civil disobedience against corrupt state elements to cause positive change. Now, me personally, I'm my own man. I don't model myself after Mohandas Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr. or Galileo Galilei or Socrates. I admire these men for their bravery, for their spirit, for their courage, for their sense of freedom, for their sense of justice, for their sense of adventure. Okay, attaining civil justice was an adventure for these men, and they were successful in that adventure. I'm my own man. I have my own cause. I have my own purpose. And my purpose is bringing attention to this state-sanctioned thuggery mechanism called clandestine gang stalking, and to see it eradicated. Maybe people in Congress don't like my delivery. Maybe the Supreme Court of the United States doesn't like my delivery. Maybe they think my words are too harsh. Well, I invoke the First Amendment to the United States Constitution to say everything I'm saying and everything I ever will say. Okay? This government, this country, has adopted a covert communication mechanism that threatens to derail the very constitutional precepts that were present during the founding of this country. I can be as harsh as I want to be, and yes, I am fighting fire with fire on this. This program is designed to disrupt the life of a sovereign United States citizen in every way imaginable, including their physical health. And the reasons that a person are entered into this program are extrajudicial in nature. There are no retrievable court documents I can pull. There are no retrievable FBI FOIA requests I can pull. There are no CIA FOIAs that I can pull. There are no Department of Justice or Department of Defense FOIAs that I could pull to find out why Emmanuel Isaiah Smith is in a gang stalking campaign. All that's left is speculation. All of it's aimed at keeping the auspices of this destructive program, this societal mechanism, in the dark. Why? Because it's not legal. It's unconstitutional. And on its face, it's unconstitutional. And it's disgusting. And it's violent. And it's against the life of a sovereign U.S. citizen, and there is no judicial proceedings that assist the target in understanding why and how he was chosen and what he's going to experience. This program is designed to destroy your life and even take your life without you being able to do anything about it, and all your enemies that you've made over the course of your life get to watch your descent and eventually your demise and go, tisk, tisk, tisk. I knew that guy 10 years ago. I knew that guy 15 years ago. I knew that guy 25 years ago. And I always knew that misfortune would befall him. As a matter of fact, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ revealed it to me in a dream one night. One night I prayed to Jesus and I asked him, I said, Jesus, that Emmanuel boy, I tell you something, he's a real fire starter. He's got our whole institution in a frenzy. He's causing people to have nightmares about what he's going to do next. People are scared of him. They're terrified of him. I would like to pray something over that boy right now in the name of Jesus Christ. I'm going to pray over that boy, and I'm going to pray to my Lord and Savior that boy, something happens with him to get his mind right. I'm going to pray to my Savior right now that boy gets his act together, or something's going to happen to him. Satan's going to kill him. And then he's going, wink, wink. He's got his hands behind his back crossed like, Lord, I hope you get his mind right. I hope you get his spirit right. Make him more like you, Jesus. Otherwise, everything that happens with him is going to end in destruction. All right, you say stuff like that around the right people, you might end up in a gang stalking campaign. All right, if you complain too much about a person, to doctors, to police, to teachers, to your pastor, to doctors, if you say enough bad stuff about a person and you use their name, eventually it's going to reach the right ears. And that person is going to get tossed in a gang stalking campaign if they're seen as too weird or too antisocial. Okay, am I weird? I don't know. It depends on who you ask. Am I antisocial? Yeah, I'm antisocial. But I've been taught to hate society since I was a child. So I don't think I'm responsible for my antisocial ideas. I think some people are trained from their youth to hate society. Okay? I've been in a gang stalking campaign for 30 years now. And I only realized it in 2015. That was when I came to the realization that what I was experiencing had a name. Okay? Gang stalkers like to malign their targets. Okay? It gives them some sense of being normal, of some sense of being human, if they can find a way to verbally or physically or with narratives malign the person that they are stalking. Because after all, if I'm stalking a good person, that makes me the jerk. So what these liaisons, what these undercovers, what these stalkers like to do is they like to malign the person they're stalking. Let's make them out to be a jerk so people don't feel bad, or so that people aren't afraid to stalk him, to pester him, to disrupt him, to confront him, to communicate airborne bacteria to him, to attack him. We don't want people to feel bad about that. We want people to be encouraged to be gang stalkers to him. So we'll make him out to be some bad guy. We'll call him crazy. We'll call him violent. We'll call him deviant. We'll call him all of the things that people dislike, and will intensify his gang stalking campaign by a factor of 10. We want people to feel good about what they do to him, what they say about him, the crimes they commit at his expense. We want people to feel good about that. So regardless of if he's a small business owner, regardless of if he has a college degree, regardless of if he has management experience at various jobs and occupations, regardless of his enterprises, regardless of his ability to communicate these things accurately and precisely, we're going to make him out to be some sort of a illiterate, violent, felon, knucklehead type. And let's not forget pervert. We got to throw that in there, so that people will feel good about using these clandestine signaling mechanisms against this young man. All right? This is a part of the program. This is a part of the protocol. Okay? This is a part of the procedure. You have to vilify the target, otherwise no one will join you. Okay? Gang stalkers oftentimes act like patrol people, like they're patrolling an area. Okay, they're guardians of the galaxy. Okay, they are circling a block, or maybe they're riding a bicycle up and down a block. Or maybe they're riding rollerblades or a skateboard up and down a block, or maybe they're just walking up and down a block. Some people use their actual vehicles for this garbage. And they take and receive signals as to who potentially suspicious people are. Too bad the people that are oftentimes marked as suspicious happen to be in state-executed, clandestine gang stalking campaigns. The crux of the matter is this: we have laws, we have regulations, we have statutes, and we have governments. Why do we have these things? We have them because, as one political philosopher put it, the natural inclination of man is to do evil and not good, particularly with respect to his fellow man. And because humankind has demonstrated that time and time and time again, history has shown us down through the ages that we need laws. We need ordinances. We need statutes. And the reason we need these things is because there is no foreseeable limit to the kinds of violent thuggery that people are capable of perpetrating against other people. There is no foreseeable, it is a bottomless pit of hostility that people have the capacity to perpetrate against other people. There's no foreseeable end to human depravity. So we need laws, we need governments, we need statutes, and we need ordinances so that the natural inclination of human beings to perpetrate violent, hostile, thuggish, and evil acts towards other people can be checked. Without laws, without ordinances, without governments, people will commit the worst acts of atrocious behavior against other people that you could possibly imagine. There is no limit to the acts of thuggery that human beings are capable of. No, I don't believe that humans are innately good. I don't believe that humans are innately courageous. I don't believe humans are innately noble. I think these qualities have to be brought out of a person through stringent laws and regulations, rewards and punishments for this behavior or that behavior, a lot like you would an animal. When you're trying to train a dog, the kinds of things the dog does that are considered bad behavior to its master, those behaviors have to be punished. The behaviors that the dog exhibits that are favorable or pleasant to his master must be rewarded. Human beings are animals in and of themselves, so they have to be rewarded and punished based on behaviors that they exhibit, that they demonstrate, that either benefit their fellow man or harm their fellow man, that benefit society or harm society. You see, it starts in the home. A parent raises their child with a sense of responsibility. Then, as the child goes to school, their teachers are responsible for educating them on having good manners and how to absorb information. Because these things will help them in society as they go into their teenage and adult years. A strong sense of work ethic or enterprising is also important to make sure that a person contributes to society in their adult years. Some people don't get that, and they don't know how to act when they become adults. And then there are other people like me who, growing up, had a sense of what was acceptable and what was not acceptable, not only to the Creator, but society. And ultimately, I was caused to have a negative opinion of society because I ran into a lot of persons that were plugged in to a societal mechanism that was totally deleterious and degenerate. And a lot of these persons were signaled to my particular location throughout my teenage years and young adult years so as to cause problems and disruptions. And not only in school, but in work as well. Okay, when a targeted person goes to work, stalkers can be signaled to his job, particularly if he works in a customer-oriented situation. Like for me, I had jobs at various locations where I serviced customers or offered them products and services person to person. Okay, Sprint, Sears outlet, check into cash, Target. Okay, these are the jobs that I had in my young adult years that required me to work in person with people. And those kinds of jobs are easy for stalkers to infiltrate. Okay, those are jobs where stalkers can be signaled and signal one another to a targeted person's exact location where they work and pester or disrupt them on the job. I got a lot of false complaints against me at work from stalkers. People who I might have known from high school or earlier who were plugged into gang stalking that got together and sought to disrupt me at work. I got stalkers right now that I haven't seen since high school who have popped up in or around the Miami-Dade County area, particularly Kendall, Florida, and use various espionage tactics in concert with stalkers, undercover operatives, and liaisons so they could snatch data off my tablet and watch me do designs live. Not out of interest or curiosity or respect, but so they can rip off ideas and act like schmucks with no recourse. Gang stalking ain't nothing but a state-sanctioned pestering mechanism. It's state-sanctioned thuggery. It's state-sanctioned harassment. It's state-sanctioned disease spreading. It's state-sanctioned attack mechanisms. It's state-sanctioned espionage. It's state-sanctioned robbery. It's a state-sanctioned trampling of someone's constitutional rights. It's state-sanctioned disruption. It's state-sanctioned kidnapping. It's state-sanctioned sabotage. And yeah, you liaisons, you undercovers, you stalkers, I hold you all equally in contempt. And you all have my disgust equally. Because you malign me, okay, to my fellow citizens, using a signaling mechanism you didn't think nobody else would find out about. Why? Because you like the feeling of being above the law. You like the feeling of being able to perpetrate crimes against people using state-sanctioned using state-sanctioned mechanisms without recourse or punishment for your actions. You're state-sanctioned criminals. And I don't want you around me or my significant other. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen.